on this distinguished lecture on the topic Microbiome Literacy for Better Management of Human Health, Environment and Society, being organized on the occasion of World Environment Day. So without further ado, I would like to request our worthy principal, Sir Dr. Ajay Sharma ji, to formally welcome our guests and please proceed. Sir.
Professor Ruplal, Professor of Eminence, Delhi University, Professor Sokti, Professor of Eminence, and our former Vice Chancellor, distinguished panelist, and dear participant. It is indeed a matter of great pleasure to us to welcome you all to this allied lecture. Hopefully that all the students and participants will be getting a lot of information regarding the issue, and it will be gainful experience. Sir, KAUSHAL College Chandigarh is a NAAC A+ college having college potential of excellence status from Punjab University. It is having star college status from the Department of Biotechnology and Department of Science and Technology, Govt of India. And with the blessing of management and specifically Professor Sokti, the college is trying its best to achieve more greater heights. And I welcome you to the college, and hopefully we will be having physical interaction soon on the topic, and we'll continue to get your blessings. Welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ajay, for your welcome remarks. Friends, we have Dr. Ruplal, an eminent scientist with us, who got his BSc degree from Guru Nanak Dev University, and then a master's from Kurukshetra University, and his PhD from University of Delhi. He had a long teaching career and achieved a lot. He's a world internationally known scientist, the more than 35 years of research and teaching experience in molecular biology, with emphasis on environmental, molecular microbiology, genomics, and metagenomics. And his publications have been cited by so many scientists that he has enough of the H factor, which is required for a good scientist. Dr. Ruplal has got many awards. Actually, he has made contributions to the science, has been instrumental in running two very long and fruitful international collaborations under ISCB between Delhi University, IMTAC, B.Voc, and EPFL, and ISCB. Dr. Ruplal was also editor-in-chief of the Indian Journal of Microbiology and associate editor of BMC Biotechnology and BMC Biochemistry, and President Association of Microbiologists in the year 2013. He was the ambassador to the Indian Ocean region, American Society of Microbiology, and is the General Secretary of the Indian Network for Soil Contamination and Research. He's got so many awards, and Lal is the recipient. See, major one is the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship from July 1988 to August 1990, and worked at the University of Bielefeld, Genentechnology, Microbiology, Germany. He subsequently vested under the AVH Fellowship, University of Bielefeld, between May 1995 to July 1995, and again in 2004 as well as 2008. He has been a visiting scientist at the Department of Biochemistry, University of Cambridge from in 1998. He was awarded Department of Biotechnology short-term overseas associate from May to October 2000 to work in the Department of Genetics, University of Kassel, Germany. He was also awarded Indo-US professorship for the year 2008 to 9 by American Society of Microbiology to conduct research at the Oregon State University in Corvallis. He has been awarded Professor S.R. Vyas Memorial Award by the Association of Microbiologists of India, and he is also the recipient of prestigious Mozilla Shuster Distinguished Service Award 2016 from American Society from Microbiology for exemplary leadership and commitment toward the substantial furthering and in the profession in microbiology, research, education, as well as technology in developing world. He is a fellow of National Academy of Sciences, Indian National Science Academy, NAAC, and various other academies of the country. And as I told you, he is one of the founder members of the Association of Microbiologists of India and had been a president of this very association in 2013. Besides being a teacher, besides being a good scientist, he is one of the wonderful human being and the best of the friends we have in the scientific world. He is very helpful to the people of all the ages, whether the old people like me, as well as the young people and those who want to enter the area of science. I just heard his lecture in Nainital a couple of months back, and I could find out how he progressed from a small niche to a bigger niche, what he has created in the scientific world. Dr. Ruplal, I'm very thankful to you for agreeing to be over here with us. And as I told you, this distinguished lecture series is being arranged by the Chandigarh chapter of Indian Science Congress Association and Chandigarh Forum for Science and Technology Communication. And now the Association of Microbiologists of India has also joined this very venture to popularize science to youngsters, teachers, and even to the non-biologists, because you see, the biology is not the domain of only biologists. In fact, the emerging technologies are amalgamation of all the sciences. So it's a word of a collaboration. Without collaborative word, one cannot move further. So Dr. Ruplalji, we welcome you for this very distinguished lecture. Earlier, we had speakers like Dr. Kamboj, Dr. Krishanlal, and Dr. Shah, and then Dr. Ganguly. We had everybody, even Dr. Paul, the member of that commission, also gave a lecture during the COVID time. So we will definitely, as Dr. Ajay has told, this is a very prestigious college. It's not a college as such. It's an institute in itself with a star college rank from the DBT, and also has enough grants from DST. And this is, even they have a DBT builders grant with them. So they are very, this college is a very prolific and progressing, maybe much better than many of the universities in the country. I'm thankful to chairman of the manager board, Dr. Sharma, who could not join as he's indisposed. I got a message from him in the morning. Thank you to the principal, Dr. Ajay, and also my dear young student, Dr. Navneet Batra, who has been instrumental in organizing this lecture. So it's up to you, Dr. Ruplalji.
Thank you. So I'll share my slides first.
Yeah. Navneet, slide kara do shura.
Sir, try करिए.
Navneet, slide share kara do beta.
I'll do it.
Sir, screen share हो रखी है आपकी.
Yeah, just wait. So are you able to see my slides?
Yeah, it's a come. Acknowledgement has come.
But no problem.
I can see acknowledgement. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, in
That's
fact, that's
good.
more much. So
That's good.
You can see the slides.
Friends,
Okay.
I have forgotten. This is in concern with the National Environment Day, International Environment, which we could not celebrate yesterday because of holiday. So this is in
No
connection.
problem. Yeah.
Yes.
So So I'm speaking on a very important topic, microbiome literacy for better management of human health, environment, and societal problems. So before I begin, would like to thank from the core of my heart, Professor R.C. Sobti, such a great personality, Vice Chancellor of 2 universities, apart from being, in fact, he talked about my science. I know his contribution to the science and also to the education world, and had been associated with him. He's so active that I feel jealous, sir, but it gives me a lot of pleasure that you are doing so much now to the society and giving back actually the science and associated with many organizations and contributing a lot. And thank you very much for giving a very nice introduction. I'm also thankful to the president and also both Sharma's principal of GGDSD College, and also the entire team working for this series of lectures and organizing them regularly. And this is again being organized by Indian Science Congress Chandigarh chapter, which is being led by Dr. Professor Sobti and his colleagues, and also Parveen Rishi from AMI. So Professor Sobti, thank you very much for making me a part of this particular series where already very eminent people have spoken. Now, this particular lecture I'm talking about actually because of the celebrations of the Environmental Day. So I will connect it actually, and it is more relevant actually to the World Environmental Day when I'm speaking on this particular topic. Now, the question comes to everybody's mind. You know all, and Professor Sobti has already mentioned that environment is very diverse. Physical components, chemical components, biological components, everything is very important to save the environment and particularly this planet. So we cannot actually deal with all the components. But what comes to my mind, in order to protect the environment, we need to protect our biodiversity, our plants, animals, and microbes. So if you can do that, probably we will be doing a great help to save the environment from deterioration. Why microbes? The neglected word which has never been talked about. You only talk about plants and animals, you never talk about, but you know, and all of you know about it, that they are very diverse and there is an unlimited world of microorganisms. As you can see through my subsequent slides, they are present almost everywhere. Be it the hot spring, आपको plants नहीं मिलेंगे, animal नहीं मिलेंगे उबलते हुए पानी में, but you get bacteria, you get archaea. You will not get actually in the air, you will not get plants, but you get microorganisms. So you name an environment, microorganisms are there. So they are, I think, why I'm emphasizing on this particular topic, through this particular lecture, I want to convey that microorganisms are really very important and the component of biological system that has been neglected for the last so many years, and we need to take up this very seriously. Now, to again emphasize and make it very clear that what I'm talking is correct. Now, when you simply shake a hand, we interchange actually more than 124 millions of bacteria, and the number comes down when you say hi-fi or first bomb, or when you say namaste. Now, how did we come to know about the so much diversity of microorganisms on this particular planet? They were already there, but we never knew that they are in such a, they form such a major component of biological system on this particular planet. And this has been possible because of the revolution in sequencing technology and coming up of computational biology tools. As a result of that, because without looking under the microscope, without seeing them, we can make predictions, and that is one of the reasons that we know that these microorganisms, they are present almost everywhere, and their number is very high, which you never thought of, which you never knew earlier. So because of the coming up of these new techniques and tools, large number of major microbiome. Microbiome, I will define what is it. But then would like to mention that after Human Genome Project in 2006, large number of microbiome projects, they were started. Partly they have been completed and still they are being continued because this particular discipline has become so interesting and so diverse, as you can see from my subsequent discussion, that really now what is changing and everybody is talking about microorganisms. Let me give you some numbers to convince you that what I'm saying, that microorganisms in relation to everything, including environment and our planet, they are very important. Now, just to give you that the total number, now we know, because of the computational biology and sequencing technology, we know the total number of microorganisms on this particular planet is something around, this number again is never settled. It keeps on varying, something around 0.9 to 3.2 into 10 to power 30. When I'm talking about microbes, I'm talking about bacteria, I'm talking about archaea, viruses, protozoans, and fungi. And you can see actually the number of viruses on this particular planet is something around 1 into 10 to power 31. And the calculations are, which are not really exact, that more than 30% of the living biomass is constituted by microorganisms. So if that is the situation, I'll again emphasize and convince you that we have not been able to, by simple looking at the microscope, by using cultural methods, we have only been able to culture or see something around 0.001% of the microorganisms. There are around 10 to power 30 bacteria and archaea that inhabit this particular earth. So if that is the situation, these are scientific facts and these are published figures from the literature. I'll just let you know actually in terms of biological diversity, what is the biomass of microorganisms and which are the organisms that come first. Now the plants, they constitute around 450 gigaton of carbon, followed by microorganisms, and then animal. Let me simplify this particular slide. The total biodiversity or biomass on this particular planet, plants constitute around 80%. Microbes, earlier I said 30%, but let's assume now the latest figure is it is around 20% or 17%. And the animals, it comes to something around 0.003%, and humans, which are effectively degrading and deteriorating this earth, using for their own benefit, their number is something around 0.0001%. So if these are the figures and they are correct figures, that microorganisms are second in terms of living organisms, then question should come to your mind. And why should we consider microorganisms more important above all organisms? Although I mentioned that plants, they make around 80% of the total living life, but more than plants and animals, microorganisms are important. I showed in my slide that they are present everywhere. They are very unique. They divide very rapidly. They adjust to all sorts of situations, and they are present in almost all environments. If that is the unique feature, or if these are the unique features of microorganisms, that would mean that we should consider microorganisms first in order to save our environment and also to save our planet. Now, for undergraduate students, those who are not familiar with microbiology, I would like to tell them that when you started, actually, we started with simple microorganisms, looking at them under microscope. And subsequently, then we started studying the microorganism within a particular community. But with the coming up of in silico techniques and sequencing technology, now we talk about full complement of microorganisms, their genes, proteins, and their interaction within a particular system among themselves, with soil, with water, and with animals and plants. And if that is the situation, probably all of you would agree with me that we have neglected microorganisms so far. which is a very bad thing. Microorganisms being so important and abundant. Probably our society, everybody, probably you see in the WhatsApp that you get a message, happy environment day. And there are also a couple of messages that you keep on getting, people, children, and institutions planting plants actually to celebrate the World Environmental Day. But do they know that they are also planting microbes as well? As I said, that they are microorganisms are associated with everything. So nobody really know that while planting actually plants, they are also planting microbes. They are not aware of the benefit and havoc these organisms can create. Our society, our children are not really aware of. Even most of the scientists who are not doing biology, or even a couple of biologists are not really aware of the importance of microorganisms that has come to light as a result of what I mentioned, sequencing technologies and computational biology. Now, let's talk about the number. When I'm speaking to you from this particular room, I'm surrounded by millions of microorganisms, and my mere presence can add 30 millions of microorganisms to the air per hour. These are facts which we did not know. There are so many organisms that are present. Another number I will give you, which probably will convince you that what I'm saying is really important and should make a sense and impact on all of you. Now, just talk about coronavirus. Now, this coronavirus, its weight is something, single virus, that its weight is something 8.5 out of gram. And number of viruses that are needed to make a person sick is something around 7 into 10 to the power 9 or 70 billion. The total weight comes to around 5 into 10 to the power 7 minus 7 grams. Let's assume that at one point of time, the total infections in the world were 2 million. The weight of these 2 million viruses was less than 1 gram. So less than 1 gram of microorganism, they can lock put the entire planet on its knees. That you all have seen it. That a very fraction of it can create such a havoc throughout the world, and we are not even today able to get out of this particular situation. So believe it that microorganisms are very important. And why this World Environmental Day is being celebrated. The purpose of this particular, and rightly Professor Saubti has selected actually this particular day, and I think this is a very relevant topic where I'm speaking on microorganisms, that World Environmental Day would mean that we should educate our children and the society what is really needed and what is more important in order to protect our environment and also protect this particular planet. I do not say that plants are not important. I'm not saying the animals and humans are not important. What I'm saying that microbes that constitute 30% of the total living biomass, which are so important in order to protect our environment, have not been taken up so seriously. We have not taken, I told you that less than 1 gram of viral load, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, has put the entire world on its knees. So nobody needs, children at home, they are not familiar. Why this lockdown? Why we have not been sent to the schools? Why schools and institutions are closed? ये वायरस क्या है? क्या कितनी क्या ये बात है? तो हम अभी सोसाइटी तक नहीं पहुंचाया अपना मैसेज, हमने कभी बच्चों तक नहीं पहुंचाया. Even हमने those who are not biologists. So Professor Saubti, you have selected, and in fact this particular topic and environmental day in order to add something actually that can eventually lead to our society to understand the role of one of the components of living world, which is really very important, but at the same time, it has been neglected so far. If these are the facts, and these facts I have taken from the literature, then several questions should come to your mind. Can you live a healthy life on this particular planet without understanding the role of microorganisms, which are actually present in such a large number? Can we save this planet or our environment without understanding the role of microorganisms? And more than that, can you do good biology without understanding the role of microbes? I think to answer to all these questions is no. Without understanding the microorganism, perhaps we cannot actually properly, we cannot do all those things which we should do now. Not only they are very important. The way environment is very important, and 5th of the June is celebrated as World Environmental Day. Same manner, world community and scientists have realized that microorganisms are very important. And I mentioned about community of microorganisms, we call them as microbiome. So microbiome is really very important, and June 27th has been kept as World Microbiome Day. The purpose of this particular microbiome day is to convey to the, not to the scientific society, not to the researchers and biologists, but also to the public and to the children, to make them aware of the vibrant and diverse nature of microbes, which are very important. So I'm again giving you examples initially to convince you. Repeatedly, each and every slide of mine I will try to convince you that they are really very important. They are present almost everywhere. So let me give you one example, the microbiome and human health, or human microbiome. I mentioned right in the beginning that after Human Genome Project, in the year 2006, the microbiome project was initiated. And first phase of this particular project was completed sometime in the year 2011. What were the actually conclusions from this? That when we are born, we are 100% controlled by our genes. But immediately afterward, we are taken up by microorganisms, especially by bacteria. And 90% of my genes and the functions, they are controlled by bacteria, which gets associated with me immediately after birth. So that is the, so what do they do in my body? They in fact do those functions. I'll not get into the details, you can read in the literature. They perform those functions which my body, which my own genes cannot perform. And when it is 90% of the functions are being controlled by microorganisms, that again would mean that I need to understand the role of microorganisms to lead a healthy life. And the number again, it keeps on fluctuating. But what I'm saying, that the maximum number, they are present on my skin, you all know it. They are present in my oral cavity, nasal cavity, in my gut, and almost everywhere. And I said, it is almost equal number to the number of cells that are present in my body. And if that is the situation, जो हम बोलते रहते हैं कि मैं हूँ, वो आप नहीं हैं, आप माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म और थोड़ा सा फ्रैक्शन आपका है, 30,000 genes, rest of them are coming from microorganisms. So it's a complete phenotype. Even doctors now, they need to consider and they need to design drugs and treatments based on this particular information, and that is happening all over the world. New drugs and new designs and almost new treatments are coming up now. And as I mentioned, मैंने पहले तो ये कहा था कि टोटल अर्थ में कितने हमारे 30% ऑफ द बायोमास, बट आप देखो ह्यूमन गट में कितने पड़े हुए हैं, समथिंग अराउंड 10 to the power 12 colony forming unit per maximum number is present in my gut or in my colon. So that is the situation, and this number today, it also keeps on fluctuating. Depends actually which person, how much weight of the body, what are the environmental situations, but total number of human cells are something around 3 to 10 to the power 13. And I think it is almost same number, and 90% believe it. These are the figures that I have taken from literature. So you should really believe it. And the microorganisms, the type of microorganism, they vary within the population, within the individuals, men, women, infant, elder, obese, and even within the organs. As I mentioned, that wherever you go, interact. I mentioned right in the beginning that in this particular room where I'm speaking, within an hour, I will add something around 37 millions of microorganisms. So wherever you go, you interact with microorganisms. You go to the ATM, probably you go to draw the money, but you are unaware of the fact that you have already taken up so many, swapped so many microorganisms while withdrawing the money or writing your PIN code from the actually machine where previous person has already withdrawn the money. So this is human. So that would mean when 90% of our genes are being coming from bacteria, and the number of these organisms is almost so much, as I mentioned, equal to my own cells. That means they are certainly, if I understand, not only to save this particular planet, but if I can understand, I can lead a healthy life. I can understand the microorganisms, their role in my body, what type of organisms I should have. I can certainly decide and I can lead a healthy life, be very free from many of the diseases. And let me tell you, what do they do in my body? They simply control and provide immunity. And immunity is something, any compromise with the immune system would lead to large number of diseases. If immunity is being decided by microorganisms, which are present in my body, that would mean any deviation from the healthy microbiome would lead to, and there are not a lot more information available. You name any disease, I have listed only 13. Obesity, malnutrition, diabetes, heart attacks, asthma, depression, blood pressure, liver diseases. Almost all diseases are now getting associated directly or indirectly with microorganisms and the genes that controlled actually our metabolic pathways. Give you one example, the study we did actually sometime in 2018 when I completed actually and got superannuated from the University of Delhi. We took samples from the healthy individuals, and for those which were treated with tuberculosis patients and those that was treated with the antibiotics. When you study their gut microbiome, we found that in the tuberculosis patients, the bacterial population or those bacteria which are responsible for the production of short-chain fatty acids and propionate and butyrate, their population increases in the gut. And all these chemicals that are being produced, they impair the immunity, alter the appetite. And that is what happens in the, so just to tell you that all diseases, I cannot give you many, right now, because time will not permit, but all diseases, this is one example where you will find that subsequent effects of tuberculosis can actually lead to the impaired immunity. And all these organisms in my brain or in my gut, they produce chemicals. And those chemicals, they actually penetrate through, they are diffused through the epithelial lining. And then through the vagus nerve, they carry signals to my brain. So what are the genes or switches that should be put on in my brain is being decided by bacteria in the gut. What type of personality I should have, what should I do, whether I'm healthy or diseased, all this is being, so we also call it now, the gut microbiome is also being called as second brain or virtual endocrine organ, and the composition, certainly there is a very strong the brain and gut microbiome nexus. And those who are actually, there is again, it's already scientifically confirmed. Children who live with टीचर में जो रहते हैं, ये जो लेबर फोर्स है, उनके बच्चों को जुकाम भी नहीं होता, उनको कोरोना भी नहीं होता है. So because they live actually in environments where they get microorganisms which provide them better immunity. And this has become controversial now. How clean is too clean? आपको कितना साफ सुथरा रहना चाहिए? I mean that is actually, मैं तो ये सब कुछ पढ़ने के बाद अपने हाथ भी बहुत कम धोता हूँ, बहुत ज्यादा नहीं धोता हूँ. So that would mean that by using lot more sanitizers, by using lot more things to clean our hands and everything, that would also mean we are compromising and removing and killing actually the important and healthy bacteria. So that's it. As I mentioned right in the beginning, आप वो चीजें नहीं, वो भी नहीं सोच सकते कि सब कुछ ही, इवन मेरी पर्सनैलिटी, मैं हाइपर हूँ, ब्लड प्रेशर है, whatever it is being decided majorly by the microorganisms that are present in primarily in my gut. There are experiments that has been done now by using rat actually as a system, model system, where in sterile conditions, where gut microbiota transferred into them, and that probably decided actually and led to the conclusion that even lower cortisol levels are decided by, ये आपको जो आप टेस्ट कराते हो, आपके सारा पैरामीटर इधर उधर होते हैं, वो किस वजह से हो रहे हैं? वो हो रहे हैं आपके अंदर जो माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म है, आप जो खा रहे हो, आप साइकोलॉजिकली, आपका बिहेवियर, आपका personality development, all these things which you probably never thought of are being decided by the type of microorganisms that are, and now a lot more applications are coming up. The diseases which could not be cured, for which there were no antibiotics, now healthy microbiome is being transplanted. Will not get into the details because I have a lot more other areas to be touched in and wanted to let you know in this particular, because मेरे लिए भी in fact मेरा पिछला lecture जो था वो was Sobhati organized that lecture in Chitkara University. I was not really prepared and वो अच्छा नहीं था, so Professor Sobhati thought okay, why not to give him another chance. So I have many.
That was quite informative, Dr.
So thank you for giving me another chance, and I have so many things to tell you, not to you, sir, but to these children and the next generation. Actually, need to tell you very important things in order to actually save our planet, lead a very healthy life. As I mentioned in my previous slides, now probably you will be convinced that microorganisms are playing very vital role, and new medicines are likely to come up. Even your stool, healthy stool, there are companies that have come up, and even the stool is being, kits are being sent, and the stool is being sold at a sample, actually USD 50 per fecal sample. Now we are not actually talking about single organism as a probiotic. We are talking a microbiome as a to be used as a probiotic. So megaspore biotic. So many other techniques and technologies are coming up where the cure will be of large number of diseases. It will be completely based on microorganisms. I will give you another. But every time I'm telling you, I want to convince you, want to really, because many people do not get, and so far everybody thought that plants and animals are very important. Microorganisms, perhaps you will agree with me, you never thought that they are so important. So they are really, and we have taken up, Sobhati, and we have taken up now actually this on a footing to convey it to the society, to convey it to the children, to convey it to the undergraduate students that this is very important component, not actually this is for you to study, but also to become a component of the society where you can almost tell everybody that this microbial world or microorganisms, they are really very important. Give you another example here. You can lead a very healthy life by changing your lifestyle, food habits, and not taking. I will give you one example. In the year 2012 or 11, I read a paper on gut microbiome that appeared in Science. And in that particular paper, it was very clearly written that was done on large number of samples that were taken from obese and lean individuals. What it reflected was that the particular type of phylum, we call it as firmicutes, they are, those organisms are fat lovers and make you obese. And the another phylum, Bacteroidetes, they are carbohydrate. So In lean people, the second bacteroides were dominant, and in the obese, actually, these were the fat lover bacteria which were in high number as compared to the lean individuals where their number was very less. At that particular point of time, I was something around 97 kg. And everybody, until such time, I thought, मेरे को सभी बोलते थे तू खाता बहुत है इसलिए तुम मोटा है. And that time I realized I'm not fat because of my actually eating more, but it is because my bacteria makes me and asks me to eat more and more. So as a result of that, my weight was something. I was taking so many medicines, my blood pressure was not normal. But that day I decided to change my lifestyle, to change my eating habits and get back to normal. I'm giving you these figures again to convince you that this really works when you are obese, but you are healthy. That time I started walking almost 15 kilometers a day, going up to 21,000 steps and doing actually not eating even very less chapatis. I eat 2 times or 1 time a day. I do not take rice and actually run actually for some 2 hours on elliptical. And as a result of that, my blood pressure, my body weight, it is something around 74 or 73 now, and the blood pressure is something around 77 to 130. So I'm through God's grace, I'm healthy. But that does not mean that those who are suffering immediately, जब आपको बीमारी लग जाती है, उस वक्त आप सोचो कि microbiome मैंने change करना है. Then you have a heart attack or some other serious disease. I had a last this thing in May. Actually, I was have UTI, very severe infection, and it turned out to be that my prostate was really enlarged. So I had to undergo surgery. So there you had to resort to the hospitalization. You have to resort to the drugs. But if you are normal, then you can do what I have mentioned. Gradually, you will pick up, and eventually you will become very healthy. I feel very healthy now. I had a surgery, but even today I'm really doing almost normal. So that's what actually I wanted, that how important all these, if healthy individuals, that means that itself would mean that we are saving our environment. Our planet is very healthy. And I give a specific example of microbiome and environment. That microorganism, we had been doing actually work for 30 years. There was actually a chemical dump site where industry has put a lot of chemicals, some 40,000 tons of pesticide muck on government land. We thought we have been picking up single organism, and we thought probably by adding that organism, we'll be able to do the bioremediation. We could not. We did not succeed. Then what we did was, we actually took the samples from that chemically polluted site and also some controls and looked into the microbiome. We found out in that particular site, as a pressure of the chemicals, there are a lot more organisms that got evolved in a period of few months or few years. And those organisms, they actually harbor, we found out genes and catabolic genes that came into being through plasmids and IS elements, and they by themselves doing the job, cleaning the environment. And we never thought actually that in such a polluted environment, there will be microorganisms. That's why right in the beginning, I said, they are very unique. There were no plants, there were no animals over there at that particular, but there were microorganisms. And that's the reason I said that they changed very fast to survive. They acquired genes, very catabolic genes very fast. And based on that, we are now doing actually the bioremediation field trials by biostimulating that particular HCH dump site located at Lucknow in Chinat district. Another example I will give you. I said the organisms, they are very unique. They are present in all environment. Now this, but probably you know the Manikaran hot spring, those who are living in Chandigarh probably also might have gone actually to see the Manikaran hot spring, where there is a temple, Gurdwara, and hot water is gushing out. If you are not gone there, please go actually. That is the genome of thermus, and the cover page, it was featured on the cover page of General Bacteriology. So we picked up the samples and wanted to see whether in that boiling water there are organisms. To our surprise, we found out that it's come highly enriched with bacteria, archaea, and viruses. And there was one organism that was 1% of the total population, turned out to be Bordetella. When we wanted to see why this organism is so much enriched, we actually looked into this organism and found out from literature that it feeds on all gram-negative bacteria. It enters into the host. So this has been projected to be used as a live antibiotic. So we wanted to see whether this Bordetella is really there. So we actually enriched the culture, which we took from the hot water, and put E. coli so that to see whether it feeds on E. coli. You can see actually Bordetella sitting on E. coli. So the in silico experiments that you do, they can also lead to good wet lab experiments. And not only that, we stopped here, there are a lot more things. I want to actually only give you a sort of very broad picture to convince you that microorganisms, archaea, bacteria, fungi, protozoan, viruses are very important, very unique, play a very diverse role, and their actually contribution to save our environments is enormous, which none of us has really thought and cared about. So we also looked into the viruses. We could assemble the genome of 65 viruses. And when we did the enrichment, we can see actually, you see the bacteriophages sitting on bacteria or on archaea in this particular scanning electron microgram. We did not stop here. Under the startup that we have, we actually went beyond Manikarn to Kir Ganga, it was a very difficult track. I will not get into how difficult it was, but it was really very difficult. We took a lot of risk. ये भी नहीं पता लग रहा था कब हम बर्फ में पार्वती रिवर में गिर जाएंगे, but finally we reached at the top, took the samples from Kir Ganga. It contained sulfur actually, and by spending 3-4 years, we have already analyzed the data, and we found out we could construct the complete sulfur degrading metabolism pathways from the bacteria. There are many other biotechnological applications that can come over from these bacteria. When I get time, probably I will speak in detail. But we did not actually stop over here. We have already actually, through the startup, funding from National Mission for Clean Ganga, where we are preparing GIC-based mapping of microbial diversity across the Ganges River, starting from Gangotri up to Diamond Harbor. So we have already completed 1 year of this, and probably we are hoping that in another years, a lot of data will be there, and we will be able to prepare the macros. But the point, now with all this introduction that I have given, probably you will be able to, and I think I have convinced you that microorganisms are very important. Not only they are important, but we have already neglected. Now, doing microbiology in zoology department, I was cornered in for a number of years. Now, of course, in my department, everybody is doing microbiology. It was very difficult, but we knew actually from 2000 that this is one discipline which is going to be very important. But don't you think that we have neglected? We did not convey the message, the importance of microorganisms, their role to save this particular planet and to lead a healthy life. I think we have neglected. So what is that we want to do? I gave you one example that we are really neglected. Nobody, our children, they do not know. Rickshaw puller, they are not. I gave this particular example right in the beginning, that even 1 gram, less than 1 gram of virus has completely put this entire planet on its knees, and we are not able to get out of this particular problem. So you can imagine the havoc these might, but they are also very beneficial. So and we started this particular effort in order to convey the importance of microbiology sometime in 2012. Use large number whenever we get an opportunity. डॉक्टर साहब ने जरा सा मेल मुझे व्हाट्सएप मैसेज किया, मैंने उसी वक्त कह दिया सर मुझे बुला लो. So in fact, डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा कि I agreed. In fact, I want actually number of use every and each platform to tell everybody, to tell our society. And there are other platforms that we are using, being ambassador to American Society for Microbiology, ambassador to International Society for Microbiology, president Indian Network, senior ambassador to Federation of European Microbiology Societies. We have a startup, and we also have a group of some 25 students who are almost day and night, and they are very much convinced that yes, this is very important, and it will be a great service not only to the nation but to the entire world if we start actually propagating this message among children and society in the colleges that microorganisms are very important. Luckily, we have also been recognized as one of the regional centers for international microbial literacy initiative resources, our startup. And through this platform, our main aim is to propagate microbiology, not only in India, but almost to the entire. So that's a group of some 25 young, energetic, enthusiastic, my students who did PhD, of course 75, but 25 of them are easily available for me. And our approach is target academic institutions, colleges, schools, societies, and under microbial literacy program. Prepare resources to convince them to those, not to those who are studying microbiology and biology, but to those who are literally in the schools or to school children or to the society members. So far, wherever we get an opportunity, I have delivered more than some 100 lectures. We conducted 30 outreach programs, conferences, and workshops. And we are saying for sure that we have been teaching our children A for apple, B for banana, and C. Now time has come when we need to actually tell our children A for Arthobacter, B for Bacillus, C for Corona, and E for. So right in the beginning, they know the importance of microorganisms, rather just learning alphabets by knowing A, apple. We are writing along with my colleagues and international collaborators, lot more editorials to educate the society, translating them into Hindi, Punjabi, and I would actually add later Professor Sobti and also the president and principal of college where this particular lecture is being delivered to actually help us. And I'm very sure Professor Sobti will be actually really will be a source for us to encourage us and to propagate this particular microbial literacy in the society. So all this we are doing. We have a special issue that we have published. We have published alphabet of the elementary microbiology. We are publishing books in Hindi as well as in flip books in Hindi and English. Soon this material will be available for children and also for the society. We started from 60 people right in the beginning for outreach programs. But then now we have more than 100 or 200 people from even not from India, but from abroad who are really associated with us and helping us to propagate this particular mission. These are some of the outreach programs where we have been going to the society, Himachal Pradesh in rural and remote areas, taking microscope and microorganisms. Children are really very excited. When they see the microorganisms on the plate. So all these, recently we have conducted one program here in Noida and Bansali. We showed them how to isolate the DNA. We showed them how these microorganisms, they look like. We are going to the colleges actually and conducting a lot more workshops, and wherever we get an opportunity, we actually conduct workshops, outreach programs, and large number of students and colleagues are becoming our ambassadors. In fact, Professor Sobti, he invited me to deliver a lecture in Chittagong University where Yogos Chaute and Professor N.K. Ganguly, they were there, and this lecture was really, I spoke, but there was very little time actually when I wanted to convey just that, yes, these microorganisms are very important. So every actually day, in Microbiome Day, Environmental Day, International Microorganism Day, any conference, half of the time we spend actually devoting and conveying to the masses, to the society. That the other day, I was in Lucknow, where I delivered this World on Environmental Day, 26th Dr. C.R. Krishnamurti Memorial Oration. And I also used that particular platform to tell almost everybody that microorganisms are very important. And Professor Sobti, thank you very much. And I also thank this Goswami Ganesh Datta Sanatan Dharma College, Chandigarh, for providing this particular platform from where we could air and we can convey actually one of the neglected components of living world, microorganisms, which are playing such an important role. I have two requests to make at him. First, I know Professor Chopti will, he's very dynamic. I have seen him being so active, contributing after contributing so much in the education system and now contributing to the society to get associated and help us. Why not for the entire North India? We selected to the DSD college and institutions from where we convey and even do the inauguration of our Imli R Rond office and convey actually to everybody that microorganisms or microbiology is really very important. And the second request is, at least that can be easily done, be my ambassadors. Go home and convey to the parents, to the children, to the sisters, that microorganisms, microbiology is very important to lead. I have given lot more examples to you to convince you in terms of numbers I have talked about. There is no, you can search the literature, Google search you can do if you don't believe me, that these are very important to lead a very, so the second request is be my ambassador actually to propagate microbiology in this society among the children. With this, I thank you, Professor Sobti, very much for giving me this opportunity to use this platform on this particular environmental day to let everybody know that this is one component which we had neglected and is really very important. Thank you, Professor Sobti, and other members of your team. In fact, I thank you from my core of my heart.
Thank you, Dr. Ruplal. We have Mr. Dr. Deka, former director, AIMS. Is Dr. Deka there? Dr. Saab, would you like to say something?
I must congratulate Dr. Ruplalji for giving such an elaborate discussion on importance of microbiology and microbiome to be available not only human beings, environment, everywhere. And that matters a great deal in restoration of human health and animal health. I'm sure this will stimulate youngsters to take up research project along with medical conditions such as obesity, chronic inflammatory diseases including diabetes, cardiac problems, and so on and so forth. There is a big knowledge available now in the gut microbiome and lung microbiome, sinus microbiome. Therefore, it is a new area to explore more and more, as Professor Ruplalji has greatly elaborated, influenced us to know more about it. Thank you so much, sir, for asking me to give my views, but it's a big topic, and we are sure we must explore more and more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deka.
Thank you,
Friends,
sir.
Dr. Deka is an integral part of our distinguished lectures. He hardly misses any of the lectures, and we are very proud of him that he is taking so much interest in our programs. Dr. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Friends,
sir.
Doctor, you see, I don't have words to thank Dr. Ruplal, the way he has explained the role of microbiology, future of microbiology, and by giving us a lecture full of teaching, academic, research, and societal basis of what microbiomes can do now. There has been a revolution in this area in the last 10, 15 years, especially after the gut microbiomes were discovered. And now we know that, as Dr. Ruplal has said, they are in fact the second brain, or they are tackling the total endocrine system of this one. There's hardly any system which is not controlled by the microbiomes. And that is why he has meant that we don't have answers in the antibiotics now, because antibiotics have become more problematic, but definitely the microbiomes, as he has mentioned, either the transplantation or in the form of a capsule, whatever the things are, they can give us answer for the health problems, for the agriculture problems, for the environmental problems, because so far we have been talking their harmful effects, but definitely they are giving us a much positive impact for all in our everywhere, including our own aura, as Dr. Ruplal has shown his picture over there, that how he could control his microbiome, gut microbiome, and got reduced, of course, with the help of other factors also, as use of gym, etc. Also, that has come down from 95 kg to now about 65 or 68 kgs. And because when I met him at Nainital, I was really surprised. Am I meeting Dr. Ruplal or somebody else? Because I could not recognize him. And see, Raksha, the way you have explained, the way you have told us about the importance of it's not only that the microbiology students have gained, but the students from other areas also have gained that what they can do. Because now when we are discovering about more and more about this, it's not only the biologists can do that one. We need a help of all these sciences, physics, engineering, because you have shown many of these slides over there that how you have been working on the microbiome diversity and all those things. So technology is integrated technology today, and that is how you are working. Even after your superannuation, you are so much active, when I'm surprised to see that how good work you're doing. Of course, Dr. Manikan, we have always there. Dr. Naveen Batra had also discovered a few of the new microbes from there and has worked on that one when he was working for his another PhD is on that very topic. Yes, I won't go more detail because your lecture was so lucid that I don't need to make any comment, but definitely the requests you have made, they are not the request, because they are our duty, that how we can tell people that if they want to remain healthy, if they want to have good food, if they want to have a good environment, then you have to show respect to the microbes also, and they are, because they are integral part of our body. They're much more in number than we have our own cells. So, and of course, you have told that if you count the total genome of a human being, and much of it is also the microbial genome, which is coming over there. So, and also you have said the less than, very small amount of coronavirus had created havoc in the whole world. And had we got this knowledge earlier, probably we could have controlled this much earlier in a much better way. But during the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of work has been done on the coronavirus. And because of the basic knowledge which has been gathered by people like you, the microbiologists like you. See, you talked about that you're coming from zoology department, doing microbiology. Yes, once I was also I was surprised when I was very young that how come microbiology, because we came to know about you much long time ago. But definitely now feel that instead of having a zoology, we should have a complete science system wherein even the next door, you need a physicist, you need a chemist, you need a zoologist. I mean, all those things have to be under one roof if we want to progress there. Have a new science. A new science is going to give us answers the way you have explained. about the microbes. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. It was a very, very refreshing food for us, educational food for us, and the way you have shown your emotions, because emotions can be by anybody. So your last emotions shown at the last part of your lectures were really, really made people enthusiastic. Yes, we have to know more about this, and we have to, if we want to serve the society. So I'm thankful to you, Dr. Ruplalji and Dr. Deka. Your comments are always wonderful, and I know that how much you are interested in your academics, even after relinquishing charge of the aims. And I know it's very helpful to me whenever I need something, some information for my own project on different type of cancers or in biomedical sciences. He immediately answers. You have approached that person, approach that doctor, and the way those people are respecting him in the aims, it's a wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Rekha. May I ask Dr. Naveen Batra to please.
Sir, on the behalf of Faculty of Department of Biotechnology, GGDSD College, I would extend my thanks to today's eminent speaker, Professor Ruplal sir, chief guest of the session. It was, sir, indeed an addition to our knowledge regarding the microbiology. And we have learned the alphabets which he has given. And this was very new to us and as well as to the participants. And they will definitely remember these alphabets. And I would extend my thanks to Shri Upkar Krishan Sharma ji, President of the GGDST Society, and Professor Dr. Softi, and our Principal, Dr. Ajay Sharma sir. I would like to thank the organizing committee of this lecture. And last but not the least, I would like to thank the participants without whom this endeavor would not be possible. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I must say thanks to Chairman of the GGST College, Dr. Ajay, the principal, Naveen Bhatta and his team, and of course, my own colleagues, Dr. Sanjeev Puri, Dr. M.S. Sidhu, Dr. Vipin Sopti, and others who are helpful in organizing such distinguished lectures. Dr. It was really, really a very, very distinguished lecture. And the last word, that is A for apple, and you have said the bacterial name, it's a wonderful. We would love to join your venture, Dr. Anytime you can bend on us. We are with you for this venture. And since now the microbiologist is with us, that association, I'm also part of that because you provided me a fellowship in the year 2011 when this meeting was here at Chandigarh. So I am integral part of that. So it becomes my duty to follow your directions for popularizing or taking this microbiology to the society. Thank you very much, Aksha. It's a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you.